agree. I mean, there are things that they can and should do, possibly to win back that faith. But have you already lost faith in this EU government? What can they do to restore it is what I'm asking you this morning. It's 0344 499 1000. Meanwhile, he's been holding back, waiting to froth over the top with you. Oh, Dr. Roger Kiefel, CEO of Fair Money, personal finance and credit expert. Roger, good morning to you. Not much to chat about then.
Not very much. No, I mean, I'm just drowning in it. It's. I've said before on this program that I was truly impressed with Liz Truss emerging from the rather boring onesie she has inhabited for most of her political career, emerging as Superwoman with this bold plan together with Kwasi Kwarteng, her new Chancellor. I was very impressed. And, you know, frankly, now I'm even more impressed because, frankly, I think that she and Kwasi might very well receive some gongs in the first King's Honours list for services to Labour.
Wow.
Yeah, it's.
Do you think then, looking back at it, because look, you and I have had various different conversations about things. I think that the one mistake that I think was made in the budget, because interestingly, Keir Starmer said that he won't reverse most of the moves that have been announced, but the one that he would is to change that 45p tax reduction to 40p. I just wish that Kwasi Kwarteng had said, we don't like it. We want to get rid of it. We know that we can't do it today because it would be financially imprudent. The measures that we're putting in place will drive our economy, and when we can afford to do it, we will do, and this will be by this date, and it will be gone by this date. Then you couldn't fault him. But the thing is that he did it now.
Well, I mean, with hindsight, of course, you're absolutely right. That would have been the strategic thing to do. But I think there are a number of issues with this budget. I think, first of all, there's some, can I call it overconfidence, perhaps, rather than arrogance in the way they rushed forward with it. I read one article, actually two articles, that said that the papers from the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, were actually sitting on Kwasi's desk with the data that he needed to present, and he didn't bother with it. The incredible fall, never have I seen such a great country fall so far, so fast, and become almost a pariah of the international financial world. He presented unfunded tax cuts with no analysis, no data, and so nothing to back up the repayment. I think that was, if I could just carry on for a sec, I think that was the biggest mistake, or second biggest mistake. I think the biggest mistake, James, was not the 45%. It was the other end, is that he didn't raise the threshold and said this will all trickle down to the poorer people. Now, trickle down is ridiculous. It isn't even an economic theory. It's a joke that the great American humorist Will Rogers made, a wisecrack in the 1920s. There are no papers on the economic theory of trickle down, and it doesn't work. One example, the banks, every time they get interest rate increases like now, do they trickle down to people's savings accounts? No, of course not.
But you see, trickle down, I agree. And I think that trickle-down economics is one of these misnomers that should never be mentioned again on the basis that it doesn't work, it never worked, it's never been a thing. What you do is you grow your economy. If you grow your economy, then you can afford to do more things, and you can afford, or people can afford to do more themselves. What I'm really surprised about, though, and I agree with you, is that I don't think enough was done to indicate and say you need to have more money in your pocket up and down the nation to deal with the things that you desperately need to pay for, and I think it could have been done very simply. Now, we don't have that much time, funnily enough, so let's talk about gas.
Well, I think that's another thing that was wrong with the budget, is that various organizations that have studied this and produced reports estimate that that 2/3 of our energy bills are electricity, and that 80% of our electricity does not come from gas. And yet 100% of our electricity prices, even today, are pegged to the price of gas on the international market. So we are apparently grossly overpaying for our electricity, and that could reduce thousands off our energy bill, even take Liz's £2,500 cap further down. John Penrose, the MP who invented the price cap, and by the way, now says it's no longer fit for purpose, demanded that this decoupling occur instantly. Boris even asked for it in June. So that flaw is estimated to be more than 50 billion pounds of the 150 billion plus that this is going to cost us.
And I think that's a very interesting point. Interestingly, by the way, the Swedish Coast Guard have now reportedly discovered a fourth Nord Stream pipeline leak, which who knows whether it's sabotage or otherwise. I mean, the pipeline hasn't actually been in use recently, and it's old gas, if you like, that's currently escaping. But it's an indication that maybe our supply chain is there. But I agree with you, Roger. I think that there is a distinct problem with this uncoupling of energy prices. But also, though, if you have a look at the energy price, which has gone from 2p to 10p for a unit of gas, and it's doubled for electricity, then maybe we wouldn't be in such a mess. Meanwhile, Roger, that's pretty much it. We haven't got any more time, but thank you so much for joining us once again. Superb frothing today. Absolutely top drawer. That's Dr. Roger Givob. He's CEO of Fair Money, personal finance and credit expert. Thank you.